Nata Edwards from the College Basketball Podcast joins us today. He'll give his thoughts on some of the college basketball players the Hornets could possibly take in the NBA draft, and then we'll get his takes from Hornets exit day. That's all today on Locked On Hornets.
You are Locked On Hornets, your daily Charlotte Hornets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
You guys couldn't see it, but I don't know if anything makes me happier than when frequent guests, when family members mouth the "in a minute, cuz we live." It's a warm blanket.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's home again. Welcome home, Nata Edwards of the College Basketball Podcast. You can find him on Twitter at Nata the Scribe. He's joining us to talk about whatever mock draft we have. It's like day 18, Doug, 17,
lost
18,
count.
19. But this is the official day in which we lost count, and now we took the wrong exit. Maybe we took the right one. We just don't know.
It's amazing.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out with Nata.
It's amazing you guys managed to lose your directions the day I get in the car. How do you lose? Signal lost, no GPS, none of that. It's all gone the minute I get in the car.
I'm the worst at directions. It's probably my biggest weakness as a human being, and I got a lot of them. I'm Walker Mail. Listen to me on WFNZ every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. Thanks for making Locked On Hornets your first listen. Again, we're free and available anywhere you get your pods. That does include YouTube. We got to take care of some of the people that support us real quickly. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time? Nada, you got to say it.
Game Time?
Thank you. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. We also have a newsletter, the Locked On Hornets Daily Newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. You can sign up for free right now. LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Hornets newsletter. Exit day takeaways. Nata, we'll go with you first because we've already given some of our takes all throughout the week. We still have some content to get to here, but we thought we would get a fresh perspective from you. What was your biggest takeaway? The thing that you liked the most? The thing that made you most annoyed? Whatever. The steering wheel is yours now since we're directionless and you're the only adult in the room. Take us where you want to go.
I don't like being the only adult in the room at this point. No, it doesn't
you are,
make me
buddy.
feel good.
Sorry.
So first things first, and I texted you this 2 days ago. If I'm Jeff Peterson, I'm finding Steve Reed for that horrible misquote that he gave them. I'm finding.
Wait. Catch me up on this. What was the misquote?
The misquote was because Steve Reed had essentially quoted the Jeff Peterson quote, the tweet basically about sustainability. And he was like, we're going to try and do this.
Well, he gave a playoff mandate. I think the wording of the Steve Reed tweet was thus
horrific.
Jeff Peterson said that we're going to compete for the playoffs next year, which he did say it, but this is the classic reading it in print and then being in the room and or watching it.
Yes.
The things don't align. Yes. And so I think when people read that from Steve Reed, Mac and Bone used it in their promo. They read the tweet. They're like, whoa, did he really say this? Okay. And then but it didn't really capture the spirit of what Jeff was talking about.
Not at all. Because there were so many conditions to this. We're going to build a sustainable. And it brought me and at first I thought when I read it unfiltered, I thought Jeff Peterson is an idiot because there's no way he saw this 19-win season and thinks, playoffs are possible next year. And then I read then I heard the audio to it, and it's okay, there's a whole bunch of conditions. And then I sat and I was walking my dog and I was thinking about this. And I have to ask you this, Walker. Mm-hmm. What is a sustainable playoff model? What is it? Because take a look at Sacramento. Sacramento has had the best three season stretch in God knows how long, possibly outside of the C-Web, Jay Will years. Memphis was second in the East, in the West. I'm sorry, 3 years ago. I'm good. We all remember I'm good in the West. Where are they now? Look at Steph and the Warriors post 2021. There is no such thing as a sustainable playoff model. And the other thing that I would add is if you're talking about you don't want to skip steps in the Charlotte Bobcat history, Start thinking about the time they did quote unquote skip steps. Big Al to Charlotte, Gordon Hayward to Charlotte. You either made the playoff or the play in. So it might behoove management to possibly quote unquote skip steps here.
Okay. First question. What does it look like? I think Jeff Peterson and Charles Lee and company, they're telling you what it doesn't look like. I don't know what it looks like. I think there's a bunch of different ways, but I think what they're telling you is that it doesn't look like signing a bunch of dudes for a bunch of money, getting there maybe 1 year, and then not getting there sustainably. I think that's what, if you're asking what my interpretation of what they're saying is, that's what the interpretation is. But I understand that there's only 19 wins this past year. Doug, that took you for a little trip yourself. Go ahead. I saw the reaction.
Well, so the only sustainable way you stay in the playoffs in the NBA is to have one or more superstars. And if you only have one, you better have the one. You better have Giannis. You better have LeBron. You know, you've got to have one of the top 3 players in the NBA, or you better have 2. That's the only way, and they better stay healthy. That's the only way you stay in the playoffs sustainably. How realistic is that for the Charlotte Hornets? I don't think it's very realistic. Unless they get very lucky and Cooper Flagg ends up being the second coming, that's going to be very difficult for the Charlotte Hornets. So how do they get – so then it becomes, how do you make a Toronto Raptors, Indiana Pacers, Atlanta Hawks type of surprise playoff run that would honestly satisfy fans who are dehydrated in the desert looking for just one sip of water? That would satisfy fans. I talk to a lot of fans, whether it's every Hornets box score, whether it's the subtext line, whether it's the comment section. I just have not, on the streets of Charlotte, I have just not met one single fan who came up to me and is like, you know what I really want out of the Charlotte Hornets? I really want sustainable playoff success. They just want to win. And like, you want sustainability, Jeff Peterson? You got it, buddy. Mission accomplished. You've got a sustainable thing in Charlotte. It's called losing. You've been doing it for 10 years. How about doing something different?
Yeah, no, I get all of that. I guess my question is, if you're asking me what a sustainable product is, like I hear you. You look at the longest active playoff streaks in the league as it currently stands. Boston 11, Milwaukee 9, Denver 7, Miami 5, Minnesota 4, and then you have a few teams with 3 and 2, and then obviously your ones that just got there for the first time in a couple of years this season. But when we're talking about the sustainability and, well, okay, we can skip sustainability. Like, what does that mean to you then, skipping sustainability? Does that mean going out and just trading all of the picks that you have right now for a star that might be available and then just demanding that, well, it doesn't matter, two will tango at some point? Like, we know a team is going to give up their star for all of the assets. Like, that's where I keep having this pushback where I like, it's so frustrating. This is a 19-win season. 19 wins, even for the low bar that the Hornets have set and the establishment that we've created where we drink in pain. Even the low bar the Hornets have set, 19 wins is one of the worst seasons. Yep. It's one of the worst seasons of all time from a win-loss perspective. So I am with everybody in the pain. Trust me, I have to do a podcast and a show about this every single day. I would love to talk about a winning product. Like, there are so many takeaways that I have from watching playoff teams and what they get to talk about. Like, they get to celebrate every player for whatever role they play. We have to figure out if we have good enough players. Like, it's just very different the way other people get to talk about their favorite team than what we do. So I want to let everybody know I sit in your pool of pain. What I will say is, it's like, we don't like the sustainability comments. I get it. We've heard it for a long time from two different regimes. So does that just mean give everything up to go get the star? Or does it mean make the right decision? Because to me, it's kind of like, make the right decision, hit on your draft picks, make smart moves in free agency and get to the postseason. That's like a comment to me.
Yeah.
So does the lack of sustainability mean give it all up for fill in the blank? Because it's not Zion. We just went through that yesterday. So who is it, right? That's my question.
I guess my thing is, like, and this is something that I know we've talked about on the show. There's an arrogance. I'm not saying, like, I'm one of the smartest people in the room. Trust us with this ownership group that I just don't think they get the history and the amount of scarring that this, like, because now it's been two ownership groups, and especially with the Jordan regime, a couple of different GMs that said, trust us, we know what we're doing. And nothing came. Again, 48 wins is the only thing that ever really came out of it. Kemba is the only thing that really came out of it. LaMelo to a degree, but even then, they still haven't really built up anything around it. So at some point, you have this ownership group and the communication staff have to communicate, hey, guys, we understand you're frustrated, but it's like, there's a lot of, you'll be back when we start winning. And I don't think they get that, like, it's been so long since that when this happens. Like, my father is tired of, like, this is the closest, and again, I brought up Phil a whole bunch of times on the show. This was the closest Phil ever came to actually selling his ticket.
What have you done to Phil?
Exactly.
I don't like it. Okay, fine. You're right. I'm
going to stop. So, by the way, I want to ban the words "new regime" on this show. I'm making an order here as one of the producers of this show. I don't want to call this a new regime anymore because Gabe Plotkin was part of this organization when Michael Jordan was the majority owner. They're buddies, okay? And then you've got Mitch Kupchak with the senior advisor to both the new ownership group and the new president of basketball operations. I want to stop this nonsense. It's the same people. They've just moved into the shadows. It's a shadow puppet government that we're dealing with right now, and we're hearing the same things parroted. Sustainability, I'm tired of it.
Okay, we brought out Conspiracy Doug. We've gone to a dark place. We brought out Conspiracy. He's making demands on what we can and can't say anymore on the podcast. We've gone to a dark place.
It's right in line with the political environment right now.
Let's move on.
Someone get him a tinfoil hat.
Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Oh, I've messed up the button. Hold on.
That's the old regime. The old regime did that.
He's everywhere!
Doug is trading in his big dub hat for a tinfoil hat now after that rant he just went on. We'll get more comments from Nata, some takeaways on exit day, plus we'll move on to mock drafts, whatever day it is. We just don't know. We'll get to all of it, though. I know that. Coming up next, LOH. This episode is brought to you by Skims. Did you know that Skims now makes underwear for men, bringing the same attention to quality and comfort they're known for? Well, now you do. The men's line offers something for everyone, from boxer briefs to classic briefs, all designed with the perfect balance of comfort and style. Finding underwear that fits well, stays in place, and moves with you throughout the day can be a challenge. Skims solves that with lightweight, high-quality materials that provide all-day comfort, whether working out, traveling, or just going about daily life. Shop Skims Men's at skims.com and Skims stores. Let them know we sent you. After placing an order, select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu. This episode is also brought to you by Game Time. Game time? There you go, Nata. There's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena, and with Game Time, you can be part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually go down as tip-off gets closer. Speaking of my procrastination tendencies, I like it, Game Time, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. Yes, absolutely love it. They give you priority last-minute deals, save up to 60% off buying the last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, events, all love it. And plus, the all-in pricing means there are no surprise fees at checkout. What you see is what you pay. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. More Locked On Hornets ahead. All right, two things. Nata, I'll ask you a question, and then I'll have you hold. You can think about it as we go to Doug. But my question to you is just other takeaways, whether it be something that you were annoyed with, something you found interesting with the Mark Williams back and forth, LaMelo Ball, Charles Lee's basketball breakdowns on both of those guys, which I thought were quite insightful. So whatever is your next biggest takeaway after the taboo that is sustainability. Doug, I go to you while Nata thinks about it. You had something that you wanted to share that you thought was the most annoying that you heard from Exit Day. What was it?
I don't know if it was most annoying, but I definitely found it annoying. And it was from Miles Bridges when he was asked about his offseason plans. He said, quote, I feel like that was my problem before, taking like 2 weeks off and then coming back, just going on vacation. But this offseason, I plan on being in Charlotte the whole time, being locked in, focusing on the right things. And yeah, I don't want to get out of shape this year, so that's the main thing for me.
That's our leader. That's the guy. That's the leader of, yeah, for sure.
It's the leader. It's the locker room leader of this organization. And look, I appreciate the honesty here, and I hope he's committed to this. But this does play right into the idea that we hear a lot in national media and behind the scenes, that this team has a general level, or has had, may continue to have, a level of unseriousness to it. They gave him a 3-year, $75 million contract in the offseason. Can you come to camp in shape? Is that too much to ask from a leader of this team, a veteran on this team, after getting a contract that I'm not sure anyone else in the NBA wanted to give him, to come to camp in shape? Is that too much to ask?
Doug is going full Mad Dog Russo.
Wow.
He is looking to take his spot on First Take.
Wow.
It sounds very similar. Allow me to spin zone this again. At least everybody talked about how much he grew this year.
Yeah.
At least everybody talked about his maturity and how much that developed. There you go. The development there from one Miles Bridges. All right, Nata. Other takeaways from Exit Day.
One, I'm going to dovetail into that. Shout out to Taj Gibson for being the adult in the room.
Awesome to hear from.
Because
awesome, dude.
Quite literally, you could tell the growth had something to do with the Hornets actually investing in bringing and saving a roster spot to have an adult in the room for all 82 games. They're like the dividends that'll pay, along with Charles. Like that's the stuff that I wish like Hornets fans had been clamoring for quite literally years. How long have we've been on wax screaming about an adult in the room for what, 5 years at least, 6 years, maybe longer? Like that's how long it's been. So between that, and then you also have the idea of, again, the Mark Williams thing. It's a business right when he's asked about whether he's going to be here or not. That was one of the most fascinating things, because I understand that they nearly traded him. He understands it and everything else like that. But he's extension eligible, I believe, this offseason, right? He's extension eligible.
Mm-hmm.
Are you offering him any sort of extension? Because I'm not sure I am yet.
It's all fascinating. And the Hornets tried to trade him.
Yeah.
It's as close as you can be being traded without being traded. I don't think there's any other point you can get any further than what Mark Williams was, having been traded, except ending up with the team that you were originally with the first time. So yeah, 100%. That's a great point to bring up.
We covered this. We've been covering this for years. A lot of people that listen to this show have been paying attention to professional sports for many years. And so they are obviously not surprised that it's a business, but they may be surprised that these kids who come up through college and get drafted, that they have to run into this wall of like, oh, wow, it's a business. But for a long time, that was a surprise to kids who were, playing in college, and most of them were not getting paid. I wonder now with NIL and the transfer portal and all these different mechanisms for both players to give up on teams, but also teams to give up on players, that if you'll start to hear that less as guys get drafted, they're going to be like, no, I knew this was it was a business in college. It's a business now. I know I can be traded.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. The NIL stuff is fascinating too. So I also wonder if it hits them harder because NIL actually provides a lot of the players with a ton of control. And so Mark Williams is in this space where he doesn't have any control. He is someone that is being traded, where Nico Iamaleava, the quarterback out of Tennessee, you might know, being in Nashville yourself, Doug. I don't know if you're listening to sports radio. I don't know if you're listening to Mad Dog in Knoxville, but I'm sure they're talking about Nico. And with Nico, he's trying to make the power play with, well, I'm worth $4 million, except, you hit the open market and now you're not even worth the $2 million that you were signed to play for in Knoxville. And so it's very rare, though, I think, that you see the NIL players actually in the last 3 years get hit because they have all the power. Like Mark Williams in this space doesn't. And so I don't know how it's going to play out. I think you bring up a good point. It is very much more business-like in college sports, but all of these athletes have way more power than they ever used to. So are they going to come in more entitled to where now they're going Ice Cube in the office if they get traded and that trade is rescinded? I don't know.
I would be shocked. I don't know about you, Nata. I would be shocked if they gave him an extension. And in fact, if they did give him an extension, I think it would lay right into my idea that it is much more affordable to keep going along with what you've got, and whether it's inexperience or ineffectiveness, it's much more affordable to do that than to take risks and go out and find other teams' players on the free agency market or via trade that are playing a lot better.
So I will say this. I don't think free agency exists in the manner that we are expecting it to. The CBA has basically made that functionally impossible. I do think that you're going to see a lot of deck chair swapping on the Titanic. I like Zion. There's no chance in hell I want him here, because the last guy that like Zion, where he was an out of shape guy that got himself right in a smaller market or a small market altogether, was what? Chris Webber? And that was 20 years ago? You have to start thinking about these things and that. So in terms of the Mark Williams thing, he hasn't shown me enough, man. If you get upset and you want to be traded because they're not going to give you a contract, I understand. Then move along. But at this point right now, I am afraid that they're going to do this just to assuage and say the devil we know is better than the devil we don't. Because I would argue Derek Queen's right there. And if you're going to do that, you're better, if you're going to extend him, you're better off starting the clock over with a new center, because I'm not sure Mark Williams is going to be worth that contract. Maybe until that third or fourth year.
All right, let's move on. Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees everywhere!
Let's go to college athletics. Let's talk mock drafts. We don't know which one we're on, but there was a player that officially declared after maybe just a little bit of eyebrow raising towards Duke. Are any of those guys really coming back? One guy did officially declare for the NBA draft. We'll talk about him and some other high-end picks next with Nata. This episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV and Locked On, our own network. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? You can turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, and Avowed. As easily as you stream your favorite shows, by the way. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. Play high-quality Xbox games at a fraction of the cost of a console. If you already have a console, a Fire TV Stick 4K device is more affordable and easier to travel with, allowing you to take your kids' games or your games wherever you plug in. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K second generation, Fire TV Stick 4K Max first and second generation, and Fire TV Cube third generation. More Locked On Hornets ahead.
Take it from me. Just leave the kids at home. Take their games with you.
Mock draft time. Doug has been on. This has been even for you, the high bar that you set. It's been a wild episode for you, Doug.
Well, it's not inspires me. I'm just happy to have him back on the show.
He doesn't want those problems.
No. Again, because that makes me an agent of chaos, and that's the last thing.
That's right. I'm pulling you right into all everything that I've said here. I'm connecting Nata to it.
It's all not his fault. That's going to be on the crawl for our podcast once we put final editing on. It's all not his fault. Kon Knuepple, our guy, he declared he's officially in the NBA draft. So we'll see about Cooper Flagg, who has not officially declared. We'll see.
Was that interesting, Nata, that we have Knuepple declaring before Cooper Flagg?
No, that's just New Balance getting the campaign together. Let's stop. Come on, let's stop this. I agree. It's $40 million. This is a $40 million decision that he's making. There's no way he's coming back. More importantly, John Shire is not letting him come back. Let's move on.
I agree with all of that. Plus, if you were just a little worried about it, if you're a Hornets / bad NBA team fan, then I think what you would look back at is the 2012 Kentucky Wildcats. Anthony Davis actually declared quite a while after the championship was over with. Palabon Caro, I think, declared like April 20th. So this sort of thing happens. The guys that are clearly going to be top 3 picks, if they don't declare within a week, it gets people, hey, what's going on? Why isn't it happening yet?
Content.
Yeah, these guys wait quite a bit. So, yeah, they wait quite a bit. All right, do you want to just dive into the mock draft, Doug, or how do you want to do this with Nata?
In honor of Nata being on the show and being a producer of the Eye on College Basketball podcast, I thought I'd go back to the CBS Sports well and pull up Gary Parrish's latest mock draft, which he updated on 4/10/25. And I've got a bone to pick with Gary, Nata, if you want to take this back to the podcast.
Here's the thing. I'll give Parrish this. Parrish does it straight off of what he sees on college, and I don't think, like, even though he works for Grind City, and I love the man, I don't always agree with his mock drafts. I'll leave it at that.
And I don't know if this is Gary's fault, but he has the Hornets selecting 4th instead of 3rd. All the other CBS sports podcasts have the Hornets selecting 3rd, which is technically where they would select if everything fell, the way it should. Issue. He's got them falling to 4th before we ever have the lottery. That's my bone to pick. Like, put them 3rd. He's got Dylan Harper, and he's got Ace Bailey going 2nd, Dylan Harper going 3rd, and the Hornets selecting Kasparas, is it Jakucionis?
Jakucionis. Kasparas Jakucionis.
That was a hard J. I should have gone with the soft J. Say it one more time.
Kasparas Jakucionis.
Jakucionis. Got it.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about him before. I am much more where he should be closer to 7 or 8 than 4 or 5. Kasparas Jakucionis is one of those guys where he's in that Yegor Demon space where those guys do really great things at times, but the turnovers end up being an issue. And if you're going to have a 2 guard with a lot of turnovers, like, for me, he's that. I would put Kon Knuepple over him. I would put Trey Johnson over a Jakucionis as well. Like, Jakucionis had some great scoring games with Illinois. I don't think he's a top 5 pick in this draft. And, like, I don't necessarily – it's one of those, like, I would put Queen over him. I would put, like I said, I put Trey Johnson, Kon Knuepple. There are other guys – like, he's closer to the Liam McNeely side where he probably should be in the later lottery.
I have a question for you as it pertains to Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey.
Okay.
So with both of them having been mocked to the Hornets quite a bit if they get the 2nd, 3rd, 4th pick, I think some people question, wait, Rutgers had 2 top 5 guys on their team and they didn't win a whole lot. I think it's easy to go to Rutgers and blame the coach and blame the program, which perhaps the last 3 years you could easily do that, having finished 15 and 17 in back-to-back seasons. But it's not like their coach, is it Steve Pickle or
Steve
Pickle?
Steve
Pickle. Thank you. I like
Steve
Pickle better.
Yeah.
But Steve Pickle, like, he got to the tournament in back-to-back seasons in 2020, 2021, and 2021, 2022. So, like, I don't know enough about the situation. Is it as simple as, oh, well, that program's not very good, their head coach isn't very good? Or is it, nah, man, it's hard to play with Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, and they had chemistry issues or whatever? Like, why weren't they above 500 with those 2 talents?
It has a lot to do with the fact that they blew all their NIL on 2 guys. Because I can make a case that they had 2 guys that are going to be top 3 picks, and then they had a whole bunch of guys that will have a hard time getting G League contracts and playing in Europe. That's how bad that like 3 through 12 on that roster was. They also, like, the big thing about Rutgers teams is they make their calling card on defense, and unfortunately, like, Dylan Harper, not a really great defensive guy. Ace Bailey, not a really great defensive guy. They have those spots where they shine, but for the most part, like, that's not what they do. They're much more offensive hubs and creators and generators. So, like, it was a bad fit altogether. They tried to play together just to make a big splash, and the Harper family and Steve Pickle, like, the Ron Harper Jr. went there as well. So Dylan Harper's older brother went to Rutgers as well. So there's a family connection with the Harper family and Rutgers. I do wonder, like, why Ace Bailey went, because he could have gone quite literally anywhere. Now, granted, as we saw with Trey Johnson. Just because you go with big program with a lot of NIL doesn't mean you're going to do much. But at the same point, like, this was a bad fit from day one, and I wish more people it was a bad fit, and then on top of that, the two guys didn't really help themselves as well.
Another question: Kon Knuepple, what kind of NBA player is he going to be?
It's tough because you always do these white guys with these white games that want to play, but he's much more like everything I've seen of him. He's more than a shooter. He's a legitimate secondary offensive hub. He's a guy that if the Hornets don't get in the top 3, like, you trade down, maybe you get an actual NBA player, and then you get another shot at it. He's a guy that I would love to see in Charlotte as long as you had something else to go with him. Like, he's going to be a guy that does, like, the Hornets have a lot of guys that look for their own shot, that don't necessarily look to facilitate. He's one of those guys that can not only hit the shot, but he will help facilitate as well. He did play a lot of point guard because Duke really didn't have a point guard this year. So he does a lot of facilitating. I think he's going to be better in the NBA than he was in college because I think there were some things with that he did that are going to be a lot better with a lot more spacing. But he's not a centerpiece to your draft. He's an additional piece that you would want.
The Hornets have 2 early second-round picks. I have advocated for them to package those picks to move up into the back half of the first round.
Yes.
What players would be
Danny Wolf.
worthy of doing that for, falling in love with, taking in the back half of the first round?
Danny Wolf. Danny Wolf of Michigan is absolutely
yeah.
7-footer. Again, some people are going to throw Frank Kaminsky vibes. He's nothing like he's not the softie that Frank Kaminsky was. He's a guy that hit damn near 40% from 3. 7-footer. You do not have anybody like that on the roster. And he's a guy that you can probably put it for, like, if you're going to have either Nurkic or Musa playing the center position, he's the perfect guy that you can slot in there and add additional perimeter shooting and open up the spacing. The best way I can put it, he might be 7-foot Kelly Olynyk. And that may not be much to a lot of people, but Kelly Olynyk was a really good rotation piece for a lot of good teams down the line.
Man, what I see from him is just like give it to him in the high post and then just watch him dribble a little bit and pass and run your offense through him. Like that, I think he's really skilled is the thing that I'm excited about. Last thing, Danny Wolf, Kalkbrenner, Maxime Reynaud, like it seems like whether you're talking about from 20 to 35 in that range, there are some really fun offensive centric centers that like will make a difference, certainly on that end of the floor. And it doesn't feel like they're total minuses on the defensive end. Maybe Reynaud, I guess.
You forgot the most interesting one, Janai Broom. Like Janai Broom's going to be there in that range.
True.
Like Danny, like there's a lot of if you're not enamored with the backup center list on the Charlotte Hornets, and you may not be, and I completely understand, it's a 19-win team. There are a lot of centers that you can come in, that are a lot of young centers that'll come in and can absolutely add an offensive punch to this team that they haven't seen out of their backup center in quite a while. I do think that this is a very interesting crop. I want to see what the guard situation is. I want to see if in Isaiah Evans, I think he's coming back, but if he's not there, he's one of those guys you absolutely trade in, and you give him the Tijan Salam plan that actually works out, where he plays in Greensboro for a year, let him get his body right, and then unleash him on the league the following year.
Are you going to come back with us next week?
Absolutely. Again, I got nothing but time. It's the offseason, baby.
Okay. Next week, I want you to think on this. The names of players that if the Hornets do select them, whether it's with the first round pick or the second round picks, names of players that if the Hornets select those players, you're breaking your television. You're breaking a table. You're breaking a television.
Can I give you one right now?
Go ahead.
I would probably put Jeremiah Fears on that list.
Okay.
I have fears. I have fears about Fears too.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, save the why. You got to tease to the next show. Save the why for the next show.
Yeah, Fears is one of them.
There you go. Okay. We hate on Fears next week. I don't know what happens tomorrow. I don't know if Doug puts on his tinfoil hat again, but the show is unpredictable, folks. Nata Edwards, the agent of chaos that he is, joining us today. We appreciate it. He is the producer of the Ion College Basketball Podcast with Matt Norlander and Gary Parrish. You can find him on Twitter, by the way, at Nata the Scribe. Also, Doug Branson, of course. Follow him on his Substack, everyhornetsboxscore.com. Listen to Locked On NBA. And then listen to my show, Wes and Walker, on WFNZ every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. Also, catch us on the WFNZ app and listen to our digital content, WFNZ.com. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks to Nata. We'll be back with you tomorrow.